So yes, this is Burrows. And we will be starting right now. Okay. Mud. Mud all over my Italian leather loafers. The last real gift anyone gave me is now caked in a mixture of dirt, manure, and hay. Huh. I guess that's the sign I was waiting for then. I've been prepared for it. That nagging feeling, always buzzing in the back of my head even at the best of times. Why would tonight be any different? I hold my shoes in my free hand in a futile attempt at preventing any further damage. Glad I wasn't outside during whatever caused this mess. My gratitude is quickly dashed by the sound of thundering in the distance. Maybe it's a good night for this after all. Maybe it's an even good night. Maybe it's a good night for this after all. Less people will be around. The wet mud squelches under my paws as I make my way through the unpaved streets of the 9th Ward. Now barefoot, I take care not to step on any of the broken bottles littering the streets, courtesy of the locals. I guess I'd be considered a local by most now, although I never really fit the bill, did I? Another twinge of indescribable dread reminds me that this needs to be finished as soon as possible. The sky growls as if it's warning me to not continue, but I press on. Just checking in with you all to see if audio still sounds fine. Don't want to go the entire game to find out only that my mic's cut off or that the game audio is too quiet or loud. Repeating once again to see if my mic audio and the game audio are sounding good to you all. Everything sounds fine for now. Alrighty, good to know. The sky growls as if it's warning me not to continue, but I press on. It'll take more than that to stop me at this point. It starts raining hard. Adults quickly duck inside while children scream and play in the newly formed puddles. Well, I'll give God one thing. He has a serious knack for comedic timing. A brave few shrug off the abrupt storm and continue drinking under the safety of their porch overhangs, waving their bottles at me as if to make a toast. I awkwardly mimic the motion and return, water spilling out of my shoes like an overfilled glass. They give me a strange glance but shrug it off, the whiskey tea likely overriding their common sense. Or they could just be good people, Gray. Sorry about that, folks. Just interruption. Okay, back to our game. When was it that I became so cynical again? Well, this constant onslaught of lukewarm rain isn't exactly helping. I chuckled to myself. When God decides to take a piss where you're standing, there's not much to be done about it. Something my grandmother used to say, but in that raspy Irish brogue that added warmth to even the oddest idioms. I should have visited more before. That thought fizzles out before I can let myself hold on to her memory too long. A defense I'd likely cooked up to avoid adding more guilt on top of the burgeoning pile. Instead, I turn my focus to the unpleasant smell currently invading my senses. The sections of New Orleans without paved roads seemed perpetually waterlogged, leaving a distinct, sulfurous odor on anything or anyone that walked through them. It was actually pretty dangerous to walk on them right after a rainstorm. Tiny air pockets can create sinkholes that'll catch you off guard if you step too hard on them. A little girl runs by in a mud-stained dress, laughing playfully as her mother closes in with a towel, stretched out like a fishing net. I'm reminded of all the times me and the old gang would sneak into the city to play with our secret friends here, not caring if our new clothes got dirty in the mud. The annoyance of my ruined shoes melts away as those old memories overtake me. TOS. I don't think we gotta worry about that too much, D. It'll be all good. We'd wait for the carriage to cross by in the hay field, and jump onto the back, picking up other kids along the way. Oh. Welcome, Indy. You better do high road then. Be right back. Okay, we are back, everybody. Let's see if I missed anything in chat. Looks nope. Sam would usually miss the jump. Oh, almost forgot. Sam would usually miss the jump and plod behind, out of breath and useless by the time we got into town. Me, Etten, and Charles would play soldiers, while Sam, Jules, and Simone would stay behind and make us mud pie rations. I hope nobody ever actually ate those. Actually, I think Ed might have tried to trick Sam into. Damn it. If only I tried to stop him. No. Good memories. One time, Etten and I climbed up to the rooftops and pretended to fence with sticks until the sun went down. If Jules hadn't pulled me down, I doubt I would have remembered to go home. Simone always looked so glum when we had to leave. She'd never let us walk her home. Ed was the same way. Deep down, they must have known we came from money. I'm suddenly reminded of the beatings that would usually follow those outings. Jules would try to take the blame being the oldest, but the adults never bought it. We'd all go to bed hungry and with sore bottoms, pretending to feel bad, but stifling laughter under our sheets, perfectly pleased with ourselves. It was hard not to laugh when the governess pretended to scold us in front of our parents, making goofy faces at us all the while. A crash to my left breaks me out of my reminiscing. Some cat's been flung ass over the tea kettle down the steps of a pub by the gruff-looking bouncer. Any pain's hardly reflected by his dazed expression, and I can smell the reek of liquor on his breath as he locks eyes with me. I pass by, and he graces me with that toothy jack-o'-lantern grin that's so distinctive of felines. Not to be deterred, he scampers off to find another haunt. His determination is almost admirable. I wonder if I looked that gone when I used to. You know what? Fuck it. This whole thing would be so much easier with a few drinks in my system. Maybe that cat's got the right idea after all. I glance back at the pub. Despite the government's best efforts, prohibition in New Orleans never really stuck. People either brought their own from home, or the owners kept it hidden away in their cellars. I look through the window and see the patrons inside singing joyfully off-key, playing cards, laughing. Even the bartender was getting in on the fun. No, it looks too rowdy. I'm looking for a soft, quiet descent into unfeeling before it's time to go. I walk alongside the river out of habit and end up in the French Quarter, walking towards the welcoming lights that dot every window in veranda. I'll bet Simone's playing a sold-out show right now. Everyone's probably there. Can't imagine a worse place to be. Any possible seeds of doubt must be extinguished. Even in the heavy rain, the playfulness and the color of the Bourbon Street isn't dampened in the slightest. A band playing soft jazz finishes their set as I pass by a bustling nightclub. Applause punctuated by the clink of glasses and murmurs of approval. I scan the area, looking for something more quiet, intimate. The rain picks up again and I wipe a few droplets off my brow, with my other hand forgetting the bouquet I've been holding this entire time. A thorn pricks me a little and I recoil instinctively, cursing under my breath at this stupid thing. Why did she think this would somehow change my mind? I glance at the leather hanging from the ribbon, holding the bundle together, unopened and practically churning to pulp. Even in its mangled state, I could still make out her signature. Forever yours, Christine. What the hell am I doing holding on to this? Suddenly, I notice a red light in the distance, setting itself apart from the sea of orange gaslit lanterns. I feel drawn to it like a moth to a flame. The red is bright but gentle, leaning more towards the pink of a sweet hibiscus bloom than the tawny blaze of a real fire. Upon closer inspection, I see that it's actually a neon sign. It flickers out of existence each time a droplet hits the tube with a sizzle, slowly fading back into its brilliant hue. The light glows gently through the steam pouring out of the sewers below, practically covering the entire storefront. It looks ominous, to say the least. The small, dimly lit space surrounded by inky black on every side doesn't feel like it belongs here. Almost as if the building had been randomly placed here, not caring if it fits into the space organically. But I'm not concerned with danger right now. I made a beeline for it, spotting a trash can on the corner. I unceremoniously dump the bouquet and queue up in front of the strange establishment. The sign's in full view now, a simple re-edition of a wine glass and the word bar underneath. Uncreative, but honest. Rather bold too. Even if the law is loose around here, surely some inspector or an out-of-towner would be outraged at such a blatant disregard. Well, at the very least, I know they'll have hooch. No need for the pin, though I keep it on for personal reasons nowadays. Most importantly, I don't hear the cacophony typical of a fully occupied club. Gosh, not even music? This is perfect. I walk up to the doorway using what little covers available to get some relief from this rain. Finding none, I flatten against the door as best as I can, trying to wring some of the excess water out of my shirt. Ah well, I guess it won't matter. Besides, whoever owns the joint can't expect a dry customer with weather like this. With how quiet it sounds in there, they should be happy anyone's patronizing them. With a final flick of the wrist, I turn the handle and head inside, a tiny bell chiming to signal my entry. The inside is wildly different than I expected from its humble exterior, looking more like a high roller's lounge than a speakeasy. There are tables for billiards and poker in the back and cigarette dispensers lining the walls. I can even see some back rooms likely for more private affairs. This place couldn't have been open for long or Ed would have dragged me here already. It's even got every illegality us heathens could desire, all in one place. Only thing missing seems to be the bartender. Could this place be closed for the night? Hello? Are y'all open? I hear some shuffling around in the back. I guess when it's this dead, you don't exactly need to be front and center. I hope I'm not being a bother, I say, making a puddle in the foyer. Still no response. It's unsettling, and I feel the need to fill the dead air. Sure is nasty out there, eh? Ha ha. I hate this. Look, if you're not open, I can go. No, please. I'll be at you back and call in just a minute, sir. A male voice, deep. I hear him awkwardly shuffling around before emerging from the kitchen. Now proudly tending the bar is a tall, portly rabbit wearing a well-tailored suit. He gives me a charming smile, acting as if he hasn't kept me waiting. It works. He hums to himself while drying some freshly washed dishes. He'd be totally unremarkable, if not for the strange leather mask covering his face and ears. It makes his otherwise cuddly appearance a little sinister. He notices me making a wet spot by the door and waves me over with a friendly grin. Sure is coming down out there, ain't it? Sure is. He speaks in that slow, charming Louisiana drawl I grew to love after moving here. He gestures for me to sit, and I trot over, my soaking wet paws slapping against the hardwood floors. The bunny doesn't seem to mind the potential property damage and smiles as I awkwardly squeeze into one of the vinyl-covered bar stools. The feeling of my damp ass against the grippy seat sends a shiver of displeasure up my spine. I shake it off and look at the rabbit who's staring back expectantly. Anything I can get you, sir? Our bar's fully stocked with only the finest imported liquors. And only the finest service to go with it. Where was the service when I first got here? Might as well take a shot in the dark. Can you make me a gimlet? Surely. Do you mind if it's on the sweeter side? We're a tad low on gin. None of that bathtub slop, mind ya. Not at all? Thank you. But of course. Order for Mr. Possum coming right up. He starts shuffling around behind the counter, and I take a better look at him now that I'm close up. He's husky, for sure, but there's a power underneath that cage of fluff. I can tell from the way he effortlessly shuffles bottlenecks through his fingers, as if they weighed nothing. I imagine it simply comes with the job in this part of town, though he would make a better bouncer than bartender. Guy can barely fit behind the counter. What's with the mask anyway? Mardi Gras was a few weeks ago, and it doesn't exactly look festive. If anything, it looks like some perverse take on the El Homme a Masque de Fer, or the Mask of Red Death. His demeanor is anything but macabre, though. I'm just looking for excuses not to like this fellow. He occasionally looks back at me, clocking my stares. I expect at least a glimmer of disgust, the kind of homophobic recoil I've grown used to. Instead, he's still pleasantly smiling at me. He clearly takes pride in his showmanship, gliding with ease from bottle to bottle. It's like some sort of dance. It's nice, seeing someone who found what they were clearly meant to do. Some people can just make it work. With a gentle pour into the golden-rimmed cocktail glass, he finishes the drink, garnishing it with a thinly sliced lime ledge. It looks amazing. Please enjoy. Thanks. I take a slow sip, letting the taste of alcohol linger on my tongue for a few seconds before I gulp it down. In mere seconds, 12 years of sobriety get thrown out the window. I'm sure my sister would be seething right now if she could see me. Good. The sweetness is chased by that familiar burn that the strong stuff always delivers. Most places here water their drinks down, so this is a nice change of pace. After the tingling in my throat subsides, I relax my shoulders, feeling calm for the first time in days, maybe weeks. Alright, before this hits my brain, let's go over everything one more time, just to be sure. First, they'll find the note on my bed. I'm sure Simone will mostly be confused. Etten will be angry. Neither will believe it. No telling what Jean will say. Either way, they'll probably try looking for me right now. I'm going to head east, find some tall trees well away from the roads, and then I look up and notice the bartender staring intently at me. Guess I got lost in thought. Shouldn't he be used to folks drowning their sorrows in booze by now? I don't mean to pry, but thoughts been troubling you, Poss? Great. He's the chatty type. Yeah, you could say that. I'm not keen on bearing my soul to a random barkeep, friendly or not. I can feel myself drying off. Naturally, a solemn little possum slinking out of his den to drink his problems away, and on a night like this. You'd have to be down on your luck. Well, I won't poke the bear. Every man has his reasons. But please, don't hesitate to let me know if I can help ease whatever's ailing you, sir. I take great pride in pleasing my patrons, rain or shine. Yeah, right. As if this is a problem that can simply be swept away. I glance over at the game tables once again. I wonder if this was his way of convincing people to waste their money on them. Would you be interested in a gambler? Would you be interested in a game or two, perhaps? Bingo. I can see his fingers twitching compulsively. He must be a dealer. Sorry, not my vice. Such a curious thing. Those vices. They can be a man's destruction or his salvation, depending on the day. Either way, gambling ain't my preferred method of self-destruction. And what, if I may ask, is? Let's do booze. Drink. That's why I'm here. But of course, you sure that's what's troubling you? Sex. Well, you know. I make an obscene gesture with my hands. That's not much of a vice. Why, I do it all the time. I don't think we're talking about the same thing. You sure that's what's troubling you? Running away. I guess I just don't want to deal with my problems anymore. Why even lie at this point? He's no therapist, but he wants to listen. He's definitely getting more than he bargained for. But so is everyone who knew me. Knew? You meant knows, right? Not really. The liquor's loosened my lips, but I don't care. Look, you really don't know me, mister. I'm not a good man. I tried to do what expected me. I tried to go against everything I was taught to believe. And in the end, I sided with the wrong people. I left the ones who really cared for me behind to fucking rot. So then I thought, oh, I can just come back to him as if no time had passed and everything will be all hunky-dory. Fat load that did. I got shamed, rejected, used, messed up the only good relationships I ever had. Nothing ever felt the same after that. When you completely destroy a person, you know, build up their confidence and then just break them down at their most vulnerable. And you have to live with that, knowing why they never shine quite as brightly as they used to, all because of an impulsive decision you made. So what am I left with? Simone looks at me like a fragile little egg that could break at any moment. Her eyes are always so tired. Gene only sees me as a tenant. Lord knows he's given me more chances than most. At least that apartment will be in better hands now. And Etten. He just sees me as a punching bag who keeps letting him stick his. I stop myself, almost let something dangerous slip to a total stranger. He must pour with a heavy hand. One drink shouldn't be enough to get me going like this. My hand is shaking. I squeeze my eyes shut as my breathing gets heavy. Fuck, not right now. Stop. Stop, 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 stop. Can all of this just fucking stop? Suddenly, I feel his big warm paws close over mine. My shaking stops. I can't tell if it's his calming aura or his strength. Regardless of why, I can breathe easy again. It pains me to see you going through so much strife. It really does. Then why are you smiling? It's not nothing. Forget I said anything, really. I rest my face on my hands and sigh. I didn't feel any better after saying it all that out loud. Maybe if it was someone who actually mattered. It's being so sweet right now, though. I can't help imagine how things would be if we met on a different night. Who knows? Maybe we could have been friends. I feel a slight sting as my fingers pass over the scratch from those roses, and I remember something important. If someone named Christine comes by looking for me, can you give her this? Tell her I won't need it where I'm going, and that I'm sorry. He takes the ring in his large paw and inspects it before packeting and nodding. Weirdly, I imagine him trying to fit it onto one of those massive fingers. If it will put your mind at ease. It actually does, in a way. That was the final preparation. While it doesn't completely wipe away the guilt, there's nothing left to tie me to this place. That is... If you could indulge me in a simple gamble. I roll my eyes. I already told you. He stops me and holds a hand out, rolling a gold coin across his knuckles. It's nothing like that, just a simple coin toss. Think of it as a good omen towards your travels. Before I can protest, he flicks the coin into the air. It catches the light, glimmering as time seems to slow for a moment. He catches it with the same hand and slams it flat on the desk, all in one swift motion. A trick he's likely done hundreds of times before. Call it. Do we got any folks who want to try giving it a guess? Well, tails. If that is what Twinkles wants, we'll do tails. Tails. A choice befitting of a man like you. He lifts his hand and reveals heads. I slump my shoulders. Now what? Shame you didn't place anything on it. But didn't anyone tell you, son? Bets are best made when you already know you've won. But lucky for you, I'm feeling generous today. All I ask of you is one simple task. Fair enough. What is it? Nothing about this is actually fair, but who am I to argue with a 500-pound bunny? He reaches under his collar and pulls out a blank playing card. He slides it across the counter to me, grinning coyly. He keeps it pressed down in front of me for an uncomfortably long time, almost as to make sure I know it's not a normal playing card. I nod and he pulls his hand back, going back to polishing that perpetually dirty glass. Frick, you died. Maybe, maybe not. Just keep that on you for the time being. There's someone you have to give it to. Who? Oh, you'll know when you see him. Trust me. Okay, then. Well, I guess I might as well oblige. This could be the last person I talk to. He gestures towards the door before facing away from me, tending to his bar. Sounds like it calmed down out there. Better get going before all hell breaks loose again. He was right. It was suddenly very quiet. Even the sounds of people and cars were strangely absent now. It was still a pitch black out, maybe even more than before. It's been nice, You can call me Virgil, sir. Hope to see you again. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't see that happening. Not in this lifetime. And yet, something is telling me not to go. Some lingering shred of doubt. Come on. Give me a reason to stay. Right. I'll be going now, Virgil. Tell me not to go. See you around, Mr. Possum. You won't. Doesn't anyone realize they won't? Defeated, I get up and head for the door. Even though I want to leave, I feel a sinking pit in my stomach, like something awful is waiting for me on the other side. I've already made up my mind about it. There's no point in pussyfooting around this. I take a deep breath and march towards the door, defiantly. What is this feeling? I get about halfway before my legs feel heavy, as if I'm wearing sandbags around my ankles. I almost fall from the sudden resistance, but I take a deep breath and keep pushing. The room almost seems to stretch away from me. I try to look behind me, but the view of the room refuses to change, fixed at one point like a painting. My head starts pounding. Was I really that much of a lightweight, or I suddenly feel the intense glare of a predator burning in my blind spot. Virgil? Goodbye, Grit. A primal sense of dread forces me back around, and I sprint towards the door, ignoring the burning in my thighs from what feels like lifting hundreds of pounds with each step. The hallway keeps stretching an impossible distance, but I can't stop moving, not with that thing behind me. Fuck. My knees turn to jelly and I collapse. I can barely catch my breath. My heart is beating out of my chest. What the hell is going on? Did he put something in my drink after all? Am I going to die here like this? No, not like this. On my terms. I grab the dirty carpet and pull myself off the floor. The door seems to have stopped moving away, almost seeming to do so out of pity. The bastard. I start crawling, pain shooting through my knees each time they calm down. Tears are burning down my face, and I resist the urge to vomit. Time loses all meaning. As I pathetically inch forward, darkness fades into the sides of my vision. The idea of backing out is sounding better and better by the second. But I can't. Something is telling me not to give in. I feel something burning against my leg, something in my pocket. I take another deep breath and gather all of my remaining energy for one final dash. The shadows in the room seem to warp into an exaggerated shapes as I lean forward into sprinting position. The gravity on me is suddenly released and I sail towards the door. I make contact with the knob and the room is flooded with intense red light. An impossible loud siren blares behind me. I barely register any of it and fling the door open. The same inky black that seemed to surround the building before is now staring me in the face. I swear I can see it blink. And just like that, it's all around me. My body is violently corkscrewed into the void in front of me. Any sense of direction is gone. My feet flail uselessly, searching for a solid surface for anything. My stomach lurches, and I anticipate the urge to throw up, but I just feel empty. Even though my vision is gone, my body knows it's upside down and goes into panic mode. I inhale, but no air enters my lungs. I can't do anything but hopelessly choke on nothingness. Organs weren't made to be in suspended animation. My limbs are slowly going numb, one by one. Is this... Huh? I always thought death would come quickly. There were times I begged for it. I'd clung to the hope that I would be snuffed out like a candle, that my consciousness would be obliterated before I was even given time to register the pain. It seems death is cruel, an agonizingly slow torture where I drift helplessly as infinity passes me by. Ironically, that's the one gift I've been given. Time. Time to reflect on everything. Every little mistake. Every time something I said came out funny to a person I liked. Thinking on it, I found something to like in almost everyone I met. I think about everything we could have done, all the precious moments we wasted. I'm a corpse. There's no point in wondering what could have been. My body is entirely numb now. I don't even feel the need to blink anymore. My jaw hangs open, tongue hard as stone. Something breaks through the icy black. I'm not alone. There are others here in the dark with me. They drift aimlessly, sometimes phasing through one another, like jellyfish floating through the endlessness of the ocean. Ghosts. Were they tricked too? It's no matter. How we end up here isn't important, just that we still exist at all. I feel some sort of connection with them. Our bodies are gone, but our emotions can extend like extra limbs. They gently caress each other with them as some primitive form of communication. Using the last ounce of focus, I'd say for what feels like centuries, I release my thoughts outward like the roots of a tree. Contact. I want to ease their pain. I use my most potent memory, the first time I fell in love. They'll be spared the violent aftermath. I can afford them that much at least. They smile, I think. That feeling was the only solace I could offer, and yet somehow, knowing that it made them happy, even just a little, that's the most important feeling in the world to me. This is how things should be. God damn it. Why didn't I help anyone when it really mattered? I waited and waited for someone to save me while ignoring what everyone else was going through. I want to try again. I need to try again. Please, don't make me beg. As soon as that thought crosses my mind, my drift suddenly accelerates. Was I heard? Was it him? Wind starts to rustle the fur of my face. I must be falling. Warmth returns to my limbs, and my bones crack, popping back into place. Life is pouring back into me. Air fills my lungs, and fresh tears moisten my eyes. A glowing light surrounds me, and the air vibrates with friction as I pass through the layers of atmosphere towards something. I brace myself for certain death as the ground pulls up faster and faster, but nothing.